guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a Q&A. Basically, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're not, good to have everyone back. But basically I realized a lot of my videos or topics or things that I want to talk about are often inspired by things that we discuss, whether that's in my podcast or on Instagram. And so now I like giving thorough answers. Like if I'm doing a Q&A, unless it's questions about my life, like very general questions like what are your thoughts on this, how is this, you know, questions like quick answer questions, they're usually really deep life topics. And then for me, it's actually a really good foundation to make like an actual video about. So for example, like that love life Q&A that we did end up being like a really good advice video. So I think in the future I'm going to do Q&As and I'm going to take like really kind of not heavy but the big life kind of stuff and then use one of your questions kind of like a platform. I'll obviously answer the question, but because I want to give a thorough response, it'll be like the platform for a video topic, whether that's about relationships, love, attachment styles, spirituality, things like that. You guys have a lot of really great questions and I'm like, perfect, we can use your questions as like the springboard. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know where to start with this topic, or I know I have a lot of information about so many topics, but I genuinely just, it's like sometimes hard to arrange it. Just like I'm sure you guys are more knowledgeable in certain areas of your life, but like someone would have to ask you a question for you to begin sharing the knowledge, so to say. It's just kind of hard off the top of my head to be like, yeah, today I'm just going to talk about this. You know what I mean? I mean, for certain people maybe that's easy, but for me, like I'm like, I need to be asked the question and then I can give my response and explain everything. So yeah, today I figured I would just do kind of a fun Q&A, catching you guys up on my life. You guys asked a lot of really good, interesting questions, so I'll go through them and let's get started. So the first question is tips on getting up early and being motivated in the morning. For me, my morning routine is super important. I think creating a morning routine that you genuinely enjoy and that sets you up and allows you to feel your best. And that looks different for everyone. For some people, they like to wake up at 5 a.m. and that works for them. Some people like to wake up at 6. Some people can wake up at 8, 9, whatever it is, like different. I mean, obviously depending on your work schedule, your lifestyle, there's so many factors that influence that, but finding a routine that works for you. For me, it's really important to wake up and immediately get moving. I wake up and I go to my workout right away, because if I don't go right away, I just will not go. I can't explain it to you. Like also when I wake up, I feel like my mind also is a Gemini. I have so many thoughts and they're like, all my thoughts are like, oh, you need to do this, don't forget to do this, you need to reply to this, you need to text this person back to this, you have this in this day, what do you have this day? Like I start getting all kind of stressed about my day. I like the night before also to write out what I have going on the next day, like a to-do list in my notes app. Like I literally will just put like the day, and then you know you can use those like circles on the notes app, like you can make the things that you like check off or like fill in the circle. I just do that the night before, like I don't know, workout, meditate, whatever I have, like a meeting, X, Y, and Z. I'll just kind of write everything out, so when I wake up the next day I have less anxiety about that exact particular day. And I have kind of an outline of the day and I can flow through my day with more ease. What is your go-to shape, nail shape and shades? Normally, okay, honestly, normally I do short nails, nude or red, but recently I've had this new thing where I really like coffin. I feel like they make my hands look really nice, like my fingers look a lot longer, obviously, because it's extending your nail a bit. And right now I have baby blue, which I would never do. Okay, like if you know me, like I'm like nude and red, like seriously, but I just feel like I'm like, you know what? Creative expression. It's fun for me. It brings me joy. So right now I have baby blue with like a little bit of like chrome and then these like hearts. They're called ghost hearts that reflect different colors. So that's what I have now. Next question is, how can you grow mentally, physically, and spiritually being in a relationship? I mean, to me that question is a bit triggering, because it's like you already, like you should be you and your relationship should be a part of your life. Like think about maybe a friendship. Otherwise that becomes like codependency. Like you should be your own person with your own values, your own interests, your own routines, and then comes like the person, and then you guys have this thing, your relationship. The relationship cannot be your entire identity. And there's a really good video I watched from a psychologist and therapist, I'll link it down below, about this, but for a lot of people that becomes an issue. Personally, if I were to give young girls advice, if I had a daughter, this would be my advice. I do not suggest people, and I'm sure many of you guys do this and it's completely fine, but this is just my personal take. And honestly, like one of my 2020 resolutions is to say the bold statements that I believe in without like, because sometimes I want to say something but I know that it'll trigger certain people, because the truth triggers people. Like even when I look back and when I wasn't as spiritually developed and people would say things and I'd get triggered, and I look back at why I'd be triggered, because I knew I was doing the thing, or I knew I could be better, or I knew I wasn't doing it how I should, or what the person was saying was true. But basically if I had a daughter and I had friends, I would not suggest them to move in together until you are engaged or married. Personally, I think I can tell you from experience, both my previous relationships, I've moved in with the person, and I think that that is when it's just enmeshment, because your person's in your space, you're not in your own energy, and you live together. Hopefully you can be honest and attest that that really takes away from your personal freedom. And me, something I realized recently, my personal independence is so important to me. I think just as my first of all, being very sensitive to energy, one, and also being a Gemini and air sign in general, I thrive on having my freedom. Not that I'm, of course, like loyalty, faithfulness, everything is important, but I'm saying like I just need to have my space and be able to do my thing, and then a relationship is something else, right? So like in terms of growing physically, spiritually, etc., like that should be your own practice. Like you don't sacrifice for that to have something else. If you're working out every day, you're working out every day. Obviously there's compromise in a relationship, but I personally would not be compromising on my core values, right? My core things. Here and there, maybe you have an event, you skip your workout, whatever, but if it becomes something consistent where you're sacrificing your kind of like spiritual, emotional, physical needs or desires for a relationship, that's I feel like when it's going to become unhealthy, first of all. And Stella and I talked about that in our video about our friendship, like how as soon as you start sacrificing things because you're like the thing is so fun and you just want to keep hanging out or doing stuff, later you're going to look back with resentment because the fun, that kind of effervescent fuzziness or excitement, it's like this like shimmer, it's like this jittery shimmer in my head, it wears off, and then everything comes kind of down, everything settles, and that's when you start to think about the things that you sacrificed, right? So I would just state again that you can grow because that's your own thing, right? Like a relationship should not be a blockage or an obstacle to your spiritual growth. If your relationship is blocking your physical, mental, spiritual growth, I think that maybe it's time to reevaluate that, because for me, I am fulfilled, me as a person, I know myself, I know my values, I know what I stand for. So if someone else is gonna come into my life, they're gonna treat me how I would treat me, which is with love and respect. And if anything, they would treat me even better or bring value to my life, because if I can hang out with myself and in my life and feel genuinely fulfilled, happy, joyful, successful, if someone else is gonna come into my life, they better, first of all, be on that same level of love and respect. And then they're gonna come into my life, they should be coming in, like I said, that same baseline, if not higher, of love and respect, and be adding value to my life. I think a lot of girls get triggered when they hear something like that, because, hey, come on, I know. You're gonna come because you don't wanna sit. You don't wanna sit down, so you're gonna come sit with me. I think a lot of girls get triggered hearing that because I think that they know that they settled. So when they hear another woman say like, oh, someone else should be bringing value into my life, then it's like a very difficult, it triggers, it's like it triggers like that shadow side almost. But I mean, I stand by that. Like if someone's gonna be coming into your life, if you get to that level of self-love and self-fulfillment and do the work to feel that good on your own, you don't have a desperate energy to you, and you're not going to just accept something, because you're not going to be looking for something to fill a void. Whenever I notice even in my patterns, when I would turn to unhealthier food in the past, like alcohol, things like that, it's oftentimes, not always, like obviously there's things in moderation, but if I was clearly going to those things to fill something, it was never as fulfilling. Same thing with the relationship. And I've been there in the past, so I'm not, whenever I talk about anything, it's all talking from experience. I don't just have this like abundance of knowledge, just like hee la di da. I've been through like the dark, deep depths of all these experiences, painful and positive. So I speak from experience. Yeah, like I said, when you're on that level of self-contentment and success, and because when you love you and you're fulfilled and successful, you only allow something into your life if it's gonna bring value. So that's that. So I would, like I said, reevaluate. Can you talk about post-op boob job a few years later? Any issues or positives? Yeah, I'm pretty open. Like I told you, I've said this before, I'm open about anything I do and have had done. So like when people try to start rumors about things that I've had done and I haven't, it's just as boggling to me. The only surgery I've had is I had my boobs done. Obviously I've talked about before, I have Botox and lip filler, and I have no shame in talking about that. But I had my boobs done 5 years ago at this point, literally 5 years ago. And it's your post-op, a few years, any issues or positives. I actually vlogged the entire thing on my vlogging channel if you guys want to watch that, like literally every single day of recovery. I'm pretty sure they're all up. I think some got taken down because the rules changed, but no, like for me, my body heals. I think it's because obviously I had that done when I was young. I'm still young. My body heals and recovers quickly, so I literally in a week was pretty much like I could do things again. Obviously you're still sore and tight. You can't like do high intensity workouts, and it takes time to drive and like it's tight, but for me, no, like I'm really happy with the size. I'm really happy with the doctor I went to. He's actually even more like successful and prominent now in the plastic surgery world, which is really cool. And yeah, I had a really great experience. Now that I've lost actually a good amount of weight from when I got it done. From when I got it done, I was like 18 years old. When I had them done, I was like kind of eating like whatever, I'm working out. I don't even know if I was working out that often here and there. So I've lost, and I changed my diet. Obviously now I'm like plant-based and all these things. So I've lost a lot of weight, so they look a bit smaller. So when I first got them done, I mean, I don't really care about talking about this. They were double D's, and now I went down a cup size into a D. And on me, I think they look really proportionate. I think if you just like looked at my chest, you wouldn't think that they're fake. Obviously, if I was like in a bikini or something, when you can see how like lifted they are, you could probably, you know, use your rational mind and be like, those are probably fake boobs. But in terms of size, I don't think like I think that they fit me perfectly. And yeah, so yeah, like in the terms of the size, I think now that they're perfect. In the beginning, obviously they were like, I had more fat in my, you know, my boobs. So when I put the implant in, obviously they were even bigger, and I feel like I lost a lot of fat now in my body. And so the implant honestly looks a size smaller for sure, but I think they're very like appropriate. Like I don't think they're too big. I think that honestly, if I were to get them done now, I probably like, if I just know myself, I probably would have gone bigger if I got them now. So I'm happy that I got them done then, and like now they're settled into this size. You know what I mean? Because when you're getting them done, you're like, oh, you're so excited. I mean, I'm sure if any of you guys have gotten into breast augmentation or thinking about it, you're like, you just want them to look so big and plump, and like you almost like overdo it. I feel like that's anyone when they start with lip filler. You see some people go up in lip filler and then shrink down or like dissolve them, Kylie Jenner included. So whenever you get anything done, you're so excited, so you want it to look almost not evident, but you're just so excited, right? So I'm really happy that like I was guided and did that years ago, and that like that I got the size I did, and then that they are the size now, because now they're they're literally like perfectly proportional to my body. And yeah, so I had great experience. I know there's a lot of people that are having like those autoimmune things. I mean, I think I don't have enough knowledge to speak on that. I'm fine. I think a lot of people, I don't know, I have a really two sides to that. I think that it couldn't be true that some people's body can react really negatively to a foreign substance. I also think that some people can have that in and be completely fine, as people have had for tons and tons of years. And I also think that it can often be a scapegoat for other issues. I think that it literally is true like that. It can definitely cause issues for someone, and I think for some people it doesn't. And then I think there's like also that the middle ground where like it's not because of that, but people like to blame it on that. So I don't know. Personally, for me, I think that there was a good experience, but I guess it's also really, really, really important to research your doctor and go to someone who has a lot of experience and is board certified, and is I would say a specialist in, I mean, breast augmentations are one of the easiest in terms of plastic surgery, like what is available. It's one of the easiest procedures to do. I've even spoken with plastic surgeons. It's like usually 20 minutes to do, and so I think you should go to someone who's a specialist in that. Just like if someone's a specialist in boobs, I wouldn't go to them for like anything for your face. If someone was a specialist in face, I wouldn't go to them for anything for your body. Like, do your research, be smart about it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new and you just clicked on this, don't forget to subscribe. If you're interested, everything I talked about will be down below, and links will be down below. Link for my top will be down below. Anything that you probably are interested in, I'll make sure to get the content for you down below. And if not, leave me a comment. Be sure to join me on Instagram, because that's where I ask the questions. So if you want to ever be involved or you have input, which I'd love to hear genuinely, come on there. Also, we have a podcast where we talk about really deep life subjects if you're kind of into that type of stuff, and that maybe sparked some interest in you. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.